social shaming doesn't work. It does not make society a better place. Whether we're talking about the stockades of the 19th century, or the mobs of angry Twitterers, or if we're talking about yellow journalistic sites like Gawker that like to spread rumors. None of this actually makes the world a better place. None of it accomplishes what it ostensibly seeks out to accomplish. And I'd like to start with a couple of quotes from some of my favorite writers over at Tacky's Mag. The first, Jim Goad, who likes to say, wherever the mob is, it usually got there too late and for the wrong reasons. The other, Theodore Dalrymple, likes to say that what society is prudish about changes, but the level of prudery remains the same. And the perfect example of this is what's going on right now with Cecil the lion. Now, I'm sure you've heard about this by now. An American dentist by the name of Walter James Palmer apparently shot a lion that was lured off of a reserve where it was protected. And now the entire internet is freaking out about it. Most of them have no idea that big game hunters are larger and more effective conservationists than PETA. Most of them have no idea that he killed this noble beast, not with a .50 caliber anti-material sniper rifle, but with a bow and arrow. They have no idea who this man is, they barely understand the situation, and yet they are running roughshod all over the internet and destroying his life. Well, let's break all of this down into 3 points. 3 reasons why social shaming doesn't matter. And the first reason is, it says more about the crowd than it says about the victim. In the case of Cecil the lion, these people have actually shown up at Palmer's place of work, his dental office, to protest while the office was closed. They weren't protesting to inform his clients. They weren't protesting to force him to hear their outrage. They were protesting so that they could be on TV. When people engage in social shaming, they are doing it to pat themselves on the back. It's a mob mentality. Look at how righteous we are because we aren't this person. And as likely as not, you find that the loudest voices amongst the social shamers are the ones that are guilty of some of the biggest sins in their own personal lives. And they're shouting so loudly to cover that up. Social shaming is more about the person doing it than the target. The second point is that social shaming tends to put the victim into a defensive position. When you are arguing with somebody, when you are debating them, one of the debate strategies you should employ is give them ground to retreat to. If you back somebody into a corner, they are going to fight tooth and nail to defend that point. And there's many a time I've had a debate with somebody, and I haven't used it to bully them or push them into a corner, but I've simply stated my case and allowed them to think about it. 3 months later, I actually hear the exact same argument coming out of their mouths because I did not turn it into an ego issue with them. If there is some misbehavior that somebody is engaged in, if there is something destructive that you don't like and you think is bad for society, talk to them. Or make an argument, present an argument, but don't target it at them. That allows them space to think about it, to reconsider their own actions. You don't get the same burst of ego, of narcissistic supply off of attacking this horrible person, but that person might actually reevaluate their actions. Social shaming doesn't allow that. You can certainly crush the person and destroy their life, but there's been no argument presented with Cecil the lion. There is no argument presented about big game hunting. There's no conversation being had. There's no establishment of justice from any of it. One man's life is destroyed, and all of these idiots on the internet managed to feel big about themselves. But beyond that, nothing was done. And this leads into the third point of it. Social shaming fails to address the actual issue. When there's a legal matter, when there's a question if a crime has been done, that needs to be analyzed dispassionately, not through democratic populist mobs, but in a court of justice, where the jurors are selected for the fact that they can be unbiased about all of this, that they can think rationally, they can examine the evidence, and a conclusion can be drawn from that. Justice needs to be done impassionately, not full of anger and vengeance. And the same thing goes for morality. If you are reacting with disgust to some behavior, or prudery, as is more likely the case, you need to present a cold and dispassionate argument about the whole thing, rather than flying off the handle and denouncing these people as subhuman, just to get your jollies off and destroy their lives. Social shaming is not an effective tool to make society a better place. It's not an effective tool for changing the decisions that other people are making. Social shaming is nothing but mob violence seeking out narcissistic supply. And if you're wondering, part of the reason that I've never jumped up onto any of these bandwagons is because I'm just not interested in being part of a mob and hating somebody else. Because, as Nietzsche said, madness is rare in individuals, but the rule amongst crowds. Aurini out, folks.